Okay, I believe we can start now. So, Ms. Zandra, Mr. Marlon, and Mr. Mike, what does a typical day in the life look like for you?
Hey, Sean. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to the last session of SEJ. So, to answer your question, Sean, my usual morning routine would normally start with a prayer and a meditation that allows me to restart and refocus. So, maganda rin yung we start with a grateful heart. We always thank God for everything that we have and everything that we don't. Yung meditation helps me to reset my mind kung ano man yung stress nung um, weekend or kung ano man yung stress ng the following day. I get to refocus through breathing exercises and then of course looking at my to-do list. But before I jump into my workload, of course, I would tidy up my bed. That would be my small win for the day. The usual breakfast. And then when I open my laptop, the first thing that I would normally do is to check my calendar so that I can plan ahead my day. Normally on a Monday, I would plan my week ahead. My work session would normally start with the daily stand-up call o yung parang alignment call namin with the Manila team. So the importance of that particular call on a day-to-day basis, you get to talk about ano yung priority ng bawat isa dun sa team in terms of kung ano yung naka-assign sa kanila sa Jira. So that's an agile tool that most of our Australian counterparts are using. Um, so after my daily stand up with the Manila team, doon na papasok yung mga scrum meeting. So yung mga subset or yung mga small scrum groups, meron kaming ganun din, daily stand up call between the Manila team naman and the AU team. So that will help align the Manila team kung ano yung priority with the AU team. So, yun yung session day in and day out. Now, what's good about the project that I've worked with, that Australian project, if you can still remember, for those of you who attended the first and the second session, that project is iCare. It has always been a fun daily stand-up meeting kasi hindi lang sa yung parang usual na business as usual na ito yung gagawin ko for the day, ito yung impediments ko, and dito ko kailangan ng tulong. Normally, before kami daily cadence, meron mo ng check-in like based on a theme. Kung ano yung napanood mo na Netflix, if you're binge watching on You or Squid Game, and then you get to recommend a Netflix movie or series to your onshore counterparts dun sa Australian counterparts namin and within the Philippine team. So, I think that's good, that's fun, kasi hindi lang siya work. Meron din konting play while we're still discussing business. How about you, Mai?
Okay, sa akin, quite similar in the morning, I guess. So, for my end, so right after waking up, kain agad ng breakfast. So, siguro around mga 7 to 7:30 a.m. to. And then after eating breakfast, I check naman ang email. So, basically, it's just to check kung may mga emails that were sent out right after I went offline the day before. So next activity would start a normal day. So basically we have an internal stand-up meeting at 9 a.m. na ano to, ang involved lang sa meeting nito is purely Deloitte team members. Kasi other than myself na working in Manila, yung other naka-team ko is naka-base sa Malaysia and Singapore. So okay, so in this internal stand-up meeting, So what happens is each member of the team would mention ano yung task na nagawa or natapos nila kahapon and kung ano yung balak nila gawin for today. And other than that, dito rin kami nag-raise kung kunyari meron kaming issues or blockers with the client. So yun. After the stand-up naman, we have around 2 hours of work that we can do. So pwedeng diretso na kami mag-build or siguro we sync up with other team members within the team. Uh, so around 11:30, meron namang isa pang stand-up meeting. So this time naman, this is with the client. Kasi yung project ko ngayon, other than we're actually, paano ko ba explain? Um, Basically, we're not the only team. Hindi lang Deloitte yung nag-work with the implementation, but they have an internal team rin na nagko-consist of developers. So sila yung ka-work namin, for example, kapag may mga integration between their external system going into Salesforce. So, this stand-up meeting with a client, similar lang siya dun sa na-mention ko kanina. So, kung ano yung nagawa kahapon, ano yung gagawin today, tapos kung may mga blockers kami na related with any of the members of the client's team. So, yung timing nito, kaya siya 11:30 kasi majority ng developers ni client is based in India. So, compared sa time zone natin dito, so meron siyang 2.5 hours na time difference. So I believe sa kanila 11:30 means 9 a.m. pa lang sa India. So after this meeting, usually nag-end to 12. So kaya na ko agad ng lunch. Then right after that, yung susunod ng mga activities ko usually magbe-base na siya sa calendar. So let's say maraming meeting, so hindi muna ako magfo-focus sa mga build items ko. Pero kapag wala namang mga meeting, so yun naman, tuloy-tuloy naman ako sa kahit anong development work na naka-assign sa akin. So yung volume naman ng meetings, I would say ang pansin ko lang from my own experience is depende din sa phase ng project. Kasi for example, kapag kakasimula lang ng project, for sure, maraming meetings kasi syempre we're getting to know the client's processes better. Tapos yung mga requirements na binigay nila hindi pa malinaw. So usually at the beginning of a project, maraming back and forth na meetings. And then as time passes by, so parang pag yung umabot na kami sa point na nalilinawan na kami kung ano yung gusto nila, so doon ay nababawasan yung meetings and at that point in time, mas nakaka-focus na kami sa mga build items namin. How about you, Marlon?
Thanks for introducing Mike. Again, welcome for the session 3. Again, we're here to provide you some inputs. So anyway, for my end naman, I usually wake up around 5:45. So medyo typical na not early. It's too early for everyone. Pero at around 5:45 and then 6 a.m., I usually go out to do some jogging or biking for an hour. Kasi that's the only way na I can do fresh up my mind. Kasi I need to make ready. Kasi alam natin na when it comes to work, I think kailangan fresh yung mind mo and ready to work ka. So after an hour, siguro I rest a bit and then I eat breakfast. Kasi that's the most important end of the day for me. Because this can, help you like para bang pag gutom kayo, it's really hard to manage your workloads. So if you have like yung maganda yung rest mo, maganda yung eat mo, then ready ka for for that particular day. So anyway, so during work hours, siguro I started around like 8:30, sometimes 8 a.m. So first hour is I check my emails. Usually I check the urgent emails, sinasagot ko siya just to make sure that mawala na siya dun sa bucket ko. And then I target my deliverables for the day. Kasi usually you check your calendars, ano ba yung deliverables for the day. So at least you organize yourself para hindi ka nalilito in terms of deliverables, ano yung unahin natin. So that's most important thing. And then while organizing your task, I usually pinaprioritize ko yung ano yung unahin ko for the day. So I'm doing it one at a time then para hindi mag-rumble in terms of deliverables and baka malate ko or hindi ko siya masubmit within the day. So something like that. And then after that, usually Sandra told you and Mike about the daily stand-ups. So it's a daily stand-up na in-explain naman nila, pero that's really the important thing. It's like usually mga 15 to 30 minutes just to, yun nga, discuss nila Mike na to ano yung ginawa mo yesterday or let's say ngayon Monday, ano yung ginawa mo last Friday, and then typical day na ano yung gagawin mo today, and do you have any issues, concerns that we need to address. Most important thing and advice then, if you're having a daily stand-up, I think it's the best place that you need to raise a concern. Huwag kayong mahihiya kasi if you let this parang hindi nyo ni-raise, it's gonna be definitely, it will be a risk in the future. So if you have issues, whether sometimes di mo kayang gawin or something like that, raise it accordingly para at least ma-address ng other team members. And I think to top it all, I think the important thing also is to learn how to balance and organize yourself. Kasi it will also help me, not me help me, but help you guys also meet your deadlines, and then you still have your enough time for yourself and for your family. So yun, doon ako pupunta ngayon. So being a work-life balance naman. So this is very important for everyone. As leaders within TDC and Salesforce, actually we encourage everyone, hindi lang puro work, we encourage everyone to balance work and personal life. Actually, in our side naman for the PTC, we are organizing like team buildings. Like last week, we organized team buildings for a whole day Salesforce team. Now I think around 1 to 2 hours that we get together, forget about work, just having fun and build our camaraderie. So we have done that. So 2 hours, everyone will step out of work, meet kami in Zoom. Kasi Zoom lang tayo ngayon. So yun. And then activities after work, may mga organization din or mga people within the company that organize any outside work. Let's say quiz night after work, 6 to 7, para lang for enjoyment, or minsan may mga online exercise pa, yung mga excited or mga healthy people dyan. So we also organizing that. And a lot of staffs are doing it. So on my personal experience naman, usually you need to plan your leaves and vacations to do what you love. So let's say if you love traveling, although COVID ngayon, make time for yourself. So make sure na mawala yung stress nyo, and outside work, you are going to be stressed out or distressed. And I usually exercise daily kasi that's the only way na I could be able to do fresh mind for my personal ko yun. Pero I think it's effective for everyone then. And then one thing that I need to consider then, after work, don't think much about work after office, and maximize your time during weekends. So I think that's the thing that you can do. So anyway, go ahead. How about you, Mike or Sandra? What can you provide advice for the work-life balance?
Sige, ako na muna bago si Sandra.
Go, Mike. Go, Mike.
Okay, so from a day-to-day point of view, so as much as possible, nag-offline na ako ng 6 p.m. Minsan nga, mas maaga pa eh. Depende kung tapos ko na lahat ng task ko, syempre. Pero minsan hindi rin naman may iwasan na kailangan mag-extend due to deadlines or blockers. Tapos right after I go offline, diretso na ako para sa daily na takbo. So parang yun yung mechanism ko to release stress ba. Tsaka para syempre ma-maintain din yung active lifestyle. So from yung long term approach naman is yung sa akin ginagawa I make sure na sinusulit ko yung leaves ko na provided by the company. So every year I make sure na nagli-leave ako for one whole week. So regardless pa to kung may travel plan. So for example right now, ngayong COVID, wala naman pwede mag-travel or nakatambay lang ako sa bahay. So na-discover ko kasi parang ever since I got married na parang an effective way for me to completely release stress and catch up with my personal life as well. So, like pagbisita sa magulang, magawa yung mga kailangan pa ay sa bahay na walang time pagawa pag may work. Ayun. How about you, Zandra?
Thank you, Mike. Sa case ko, siguro to level set din the expectations of the students. When you are in an IT project, yung life cycle niya or yung parang yung momentum mo, may peaks and valleys. So may mga times talaga na parang niisip ko, bakit parang puro work? Parang walang life balance. Kasi yun yung time na naghahabol kayo ng deadline, lalo na halimbawa kung pag-go live kayo or after ng go live, meron tayong tinatawag na post-production support or some other companies would call it hypercare. So yun yung mga times na parang nawawala yung life dun sa work-life balance. Pero may mga times din naman, like what I've said earlier, yung valley part ng project life cycle, doon naman yung medyo steady yung state ng project. Halimbawa ko na you were able to plan yung velocity ng team for using agile methodology. Medyo steady yan pagdating ng build stage. So, yun, pagpasok niya sa industry, hindi siya parating yung consistent na meron kang work-life balance kasi some projects talaga may peaks and valleys. But in my case, whether peak yun or steady, right after work, like yung sinabi ni Marlon kanina, I would really try to turn off yung parang work mode ko kasi kung hindi mo yun ma-turn off, mahihirapan ka talagang mag-survive sa IT industry kasi very fast-paced. So, disconnecting from work, kung hindi ka nga makatravel, like yung sinabi ni Mike kanina dahil COVID. Pero actually ngayon pwede na. Basta out of town and then you process all the papers, you can travel. Kung you can travel, you can travel within your house or within your home, like yung sinabi ni Mike. Kahit wala akong green thumb, tinatry kong mag-plant ng mga maliliit na plants, pero wala, namamatay pa rin siya. So siguro I have to work on that. On a daily basis, sinabi rin yun ni Mike kanina and then ni Marlon, yung exercise is really very important. So, you have to choose an exercise that you really enjoy most kasi otherwise kapag you go into yoga and then you don't enjoy yoga, the tendency is mag-yoga ka on and off and then nawawala din yung exercise. I guess the importance of doing exercise is lalo na ngayon pandemic, you get to maintain not only a healthy body, yung healthy mind din kasi it follows na if you have a healthy body, you have a healthy mindset. So that's really important whether you do physical exercise, you do cardio. In my case, pag umuulan and we can't walk our dog outside, nagte-treadmill ako for 30 minutes. Yun lang yung daily routine ko. But as Mike also mentioned, yung time to connect with your family din. Kasi minsan sa sobrang busy ng mga meetings, kakalimutan mo all throughout the day na I'm with my family pala. I'm with my husband, I'm with my kids. And then, of course, yung pets namin sa loob. That helps us to distress. What's good about Deloitte, if you get to work with us, the company is very supportive of the mental health, even in physical health. Like Marlon mentioned kanina, meron kaming yung, nakalimutan ko na yung session na yun, pero merong coach. There's also an employee of Deloitte that you can join. You can do exercise with your colleagues ng via Zoom. Meron ding yoga na provide for us. And then, of course, we have what we call the Employee Assistance Program. So yung Employee Assistance Program na yon, you can engage a life coach for free. So yung life coach, parang ano mo rin na rin yan, trusted yan na you can tell that particular coach kung ano yung challenges mo for the day, and then that coach will guide you. And if ever you will be needing a psychologist to look at you, that's also provided by Deloitte. So may assistance na provide si Deloitte kung kailangan mo ng sessions with a doctor outside of the usual insurance coverage. So yun yung I think magandang tandaan this pandemic, yung work-life balance. Hindi man all the time, but as much as possible, we should always adhere na may break pa rin kayo in between work. That's it for me. Over to you, Sean.
Thank you all for the answers. So as you heard from them just now, they all have their own daily experiences and how they go about it, whether it's doing work or outside of work. But the most important thing here is to maintain a proper, healthy work-life balance to prevent burnouts. So thank you all for providing with us enlightening answers. So on to the next topic. This one's about learning your strengths or area of improvement. Now, as you all recall in the previous session, for those who were present, I mentioned how I wanted to focus on improving my skills with developing using Salesforce. By doing so, it makes discussing and developing solutions for the project easier, not just for yourself, but for the whole team as well. So, Mr. Marlon, if you could pitch in on this.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Sean, for that. Siguro, on my perspective, I'm gonna be sharing about my consulting experience. So, there's a client. I think they need solution to their current problem. So, they provide us the high level, meaning ito yung problema namin, this is the problem, can you provide us a solution? So, parang thesis din yung ginagawa nyo. I think so most of you guys are having experience with thesis na you have a project that you provide documentation, what are the solutions before you create a workable system. So, for my approach, siguro you could be able to learn this from my experience then. We cannot provide a solution yet. So we should have like a deep dive sessions that we need to understand the current process of the business. Let's say we need to understand the current pain points or what are the blockers. Why kailangan nila mag-improve. So in order for you to do that, before presenting it to the like CEO or stakeholders, we should interview people within the departments, or interview people who are using the process or doing the process, and then ask for their inputs, kasi usually sometimes they have a lot of inputs that they can share and can help you as well in providing a solution. And how they're going to be productive in terms of, if you're going to implement this, what will be your production? Maliles ba yung work nila or gaganda ba yung work nila? So something like that. And unnecessary processes, kasi sometimes we have to understand that we have a lot of processes that we can eliminate na pwede man natin i-shortcut and much better pa din and much faster. So once we have all the details, we can come up na din. Let's say meron kayong documentation, we can come up with a solution that address the current situation. That will create value to the for the people, for processes, and something important thing is this solution will provide value to the financial side of the business. So doing that, siguro experience din, pag meron ka ng solutions, you can present it already to the stakeholders kasi you have all the buy-ins na din from different departments. And then, what solution can bring you in? So meaning, it will also help you, and it will also help the stakeholders na nakuha nyo yung information and you have the solution, makuha nyo yung buy-in nila to implement it within the organization. So, yun lang. Siguro, I think, in the solutioning side, it's a process, not really just provide solution right away. And it's not the best practice na to go over the not to go over the process and then provide solutions kasi eventually you will be able to parang malalesen din yung time natin pag implement na solution yet, then it's not effective. It's a waste of time for everyone. So anyway, throughout my experience, I've been able to apply these practices in the consulting side. Started the last 9 years ago, and then I've been applying it internally as well, not only for clients. I've been entirely ginagamit ko siya how to improve the process internally in that process, and especially for customer issues as well. So yeah, go over to you, Sean. I think that's what I can share with them.
Thank you, Mr. Marlon. What about you, Mr. Mike?
Okay, so on my end, to be honest, maniwala man kayo o hindi, when I first started sa Salesforce in my first job, so hirap na hirap ako actually noon intindihin yung programming language niya kasi it was completely different from what I learned during college. That's why I mentioned in the previous sessions na I was hoping na may Java dati na curriculum pero hindi pa siya available at that time. So, ah, yung conflict ko na 'to, buti na lang yung mga seniors ko at that time na surprisingly, ka-work ko pa rin sila dito sa Deloitte, were willing to help me out para mas maintindihan ko ng mas maayos. So, buti na lang naging patient sila sa akin. And I would say another area na nag-improve ako was paano mag-present sa client. So, nangyari naman dito is there was a time na yung mga counterpart namin sa Australia, so basically they're from Deloitte Australia, nag-visit sila dito sa office sa Manila. So, yun yung parang naging findings nila na lalo na sa amin at that time na new joiner pa lang, fresh from college na parang kailangan kulang sila sa presentation skills. So what we did with them was nag-held kami ng mga mock presentation. So parang bawat isa magpe-present sa kanila na as if kunyari clients sila. And then they would provide feedback yung mga areas na kung saan kami okay or magaling. And syempre, pa-provide sabihin din nila kung kung saan ka nagkukulang and how to improve it. So, uh, due to that activity, I was able to improve my confidence and also improve my oral skills. How about you, Zandra?
Thank you, Mike. So in my case, since I'm currently a delivering manager and an offering leader, it's interesting to know based from yung Gallup Strengths Finder. For those of you who don't know Gallup, yan normally yung binibigay ng mga companies with a set of questions. And then after you've answered that question, it will give you a comprehensive report on your top 25. Minsan nga top 100 pa yung binibigay na strengths, and also the other side of that strength, or what they call the balcony. So nung minap siya, most of my top 10 or top 5 strengths are leaning towards the execution quadrant and the strategical. So knowing that, I'm able to align yung strengths ko in my career choices. That's the reason why right now I'm a delivering manager, dual hatting as an offering leader. So in this roles, it's very important that you really are good in execution, follow through based on the direction that was given to you. But since as I've mentioned, yung strengths ko mas nakafocus dun sa execution and leaning towards the strategic. Minsan meron akong frustration if kung meron kaming plan, velocity, halimbawa for a particular release, hindi siya nasusunod because of some other reason like changes doon sa business direction ng company, or merong mga emergency PTO, so we have to reprioritize the different user stories and then recompute the velocity. That sometimes gives a lot of frustration to me. So what's good is my current lead, si Joel, siya yung one of our directors here who leads the what we call the customer and marketing portfolio. So he helps me he coaches me on how to be more flexible kasi hindi naman if you plan on something, particularly your project plan or meron kang velocity, meron kang release plan na you have set for your team, hindi siya talaga 100% of the time na nasusunod. So he always reminds me that sometimes I have to be flexible, lalo na kung yung changes is changes doon sa business direction ng product owner. That's usually a company representative or yung representative siya from the client side who is responsible for directing the team kung ano yung features aligned to user stories na ipa-prioritize for a certain release. And my lead also helps me align the different activities or the different tactical solutions that we have for our offering. Tinutulungan niya akong i-align yun doon sa business goals ng Deloitte as a company. So I think it's very important for you to have a coach in your company when you work for a company. In Deloitte, pagpasok mo pa lang may coach ka na. So your coach can be a level higher than you from a different group, or of course your boss can also be your coach, your formal coach. And then along the line, along the years that you will work in Deloitte, magkakaroon ka rin ng informal coach. So apart from those na inassign sa'yo, and then yung boss mo, of course. Over to you, Sean.
Thank you, Ms. Zandra. So there's an advice I'd like to give to y'all. So sometimes there will be plans in the project that won't always go 100% the way it is intended. So the important thing during times like that is to keep an open mind and to not lose your cool. And always remember, there's always time to discuss with your team on how to tackle each blocker encountered and the solutions that come with them. So thank you all for the answers provided. And for the next topic, a question for all of you guys. What tips and tricks do you use in your daily schedule that have helped you get to where you are in your career?
Okay, I could go first on this one. So, I guess my advice would be most important, so don't be afraid to try something new. So, lahat naman ng, lahat naman ng expert, nagiging beginner din at what point in time. And also, it's natural to feel pressure with whatever you are doing right now. And yung challenge dito is to rise to the occasion to further improve yourself. So believe it or not, sa first job ko, ang in-applyan ko talaga is business analyst na role. Pero after my initial interview ng HR, they actually referred me na maging developer instead. So, and lastly, hindi nyo kailangan magmadali para malaman kung ano yung gusto nyong gawin. So you can take your time and explore the different roles that are available. And eventually, madidiscover mo rin kung nasan yung passion mo. Off to you, Zandra.
Thank you, Mike. Interesting answer on BA to Dev turning point for your career. In my case, I would say it's very important for you to be hungry in terms of knowledge. Yung appetite niyo for learning should always be there. As you all know sa IT industry, di ba yung technology, pabago-bago talaga yan. So kung hindi ka, if you don't plan ahead, you don't see where the technologies are going. Like say for instance, you see that in the roadmap or based from the news movers and shakers ng IT industry, cloud computing yung magiging in demand. So it's best for you to know that particular trend so that you can align yung career skills nyo. In our case, Salesforce is actually one of the most in-demand skills right now kasi that really aligns to cloud computing. And that's also one of the demands that we see will still increase in the fourth industrial revolution. So you not only hone your technical skills in terms of getting your certification, making sure that you attend your trainings. It's also important for you to always be curious, always have that hunger to learn and to see kung ano yung magiging direction, kung ano yung magiging trend ng technology. Kasi as I mentioned, that will help you align your career and stay on top of what you're doing right now, and then of course yung goal mo, it will help you be in demand pagdating sa IT industry. Ikaw, Marlon.
Sige. Siguro I have a story to share, I guess. Actually, way back years ago, I'm not really entirely an IT person. So meaning, after graduation, I started working as sales. So wala pa ako sa industry ng IT, though I'm graduated as an IT person. So for the next 5 years, let's say, I've been trying myself to go back to the IT industry. Though I've experienced selling solutions, pero in terms of doing IT stuff, that's really my challenge. Because way back then, medyo mahirap magkaroon ng IT job. But eventually, because I built relationship with my coworkers, and then relationship with my other networks, yon, that's where I started na with IT, and what's given an opportunity for me to start working on it. So siguro my advice is like, during your stay with a company, let's say in the IT industry ka na, you need to build a relationship with your coworkers kasi that's the only way that you be able to be improved in terms of how you work. Sometimes your manager or mentor will provide you feedback. Open for, let's say, open for negative feedback din kayo. It's because it's the only way that you know that you have a mistake or you needs improvement, that you need to be like, hindi naman perfect, pero for, kasi that's the only way. Kasi as you enter the corporate world, you only be successful if you work with one another. Though there are times na kailangan mo mag-work on your own, pero you should have to build some relationship with everyone else. Kahit the teammates, other departments, kasi they could also help you in terms of that. So, and then, aside from that, siguro, that's why I've not really successful, pero what I'm currently right now, it's because I also built relationships with my past leaders. So past leaders, past managers, lahat ng mga leaders ko, nag-build akong relationship because it also helped me grow my career along the process because they mentored me, and then when I transferred to different company, I be able to communicate with them as well if I need career advice or career decisions. So any decisions that I need to decide right there and then, of course, sometimes I connect with them to help me what's the best direction to have. And then these people also pulled me up again as well, where I'm right now, and continue to network with other people to learn as more as I continue with my journey. So doon talaga yung ano sa akin. And then if you network them kasi nakaka-inspire din sa kanila, sa akin na, oh, okay, he's so successful, and then, paano niya ginawa yon. So, hindi ko naman siya pinapattern, pero ginagaya ko yung work ethics nila. And, ayun, tinutulungan nila din ako to be like them. Not really be like them, but to 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 gain more knowledge and improve myself as well. So if you have like, let's say, LinkedIn, so usually you if kung meron kayong account sa LinkedIn, just create your own account kasi it's like Facebook pero more on the business side, career side. So you can get a lot of people there as well, not only locally. You could also connect outside Philippines, and then sometimes they would be able to share you some career advice or what are the best trend industry. Let's say, like Sandra said earlier, Salesforce. There's a lot of information there, and then you could connect a lot of people there. And if you're running through a Salesforce, like Salesforce na yung gusto nyong maging career in the future, I think may mga groups doon na puro Salesforce lang, and then sometimes may mga ganun sa social media na may mga questions ka na, let's say you're doing a job, sometimes you can ask question dun sa network na yon, to help you how to be able to resolve this, or what are the best training that I can study, how to improve in Salesforce. So leverage all the social media, especially for LinkedIn. Sometimes kasi meron din sa Facebook na social media for Salesforce. So make sure that build relationship, not only sa company, but also outside the company. Kasi I think that's the best way that you could learn and experience others, uh, parang mga user stories nila na they can help you also in your career. So, yeah, over to you, Sean.
Thank you, Mr. Marlon. So this wraps up all the topics to be discussed for this seminar. So remember, the highlights for this session are keeping a healthy work-life balance, improve areas that needs improving, including your strengths, and most of all, form connections with others as you work. Do not hesitate to reach out to others if there's something you're stuck with. And if you just want to hang out, go ahead. Feel free to do that. No one can stop you with that. We are all one big team. So yes. So thank you, a wonderful panelist, for providing us with enlightening answers as to how you handle your daily work lives. Those are really enlightening. So thank you all, Miss Zandra, Mr. Marlon, and Mr. Mike. And with that wrapped up, we will now enter the Q&A session. So as a reminder, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat box below.
Hey, Sean, I think we have one question from Kevin in the chat box.
Oh, yes.
So the question is, how does Deloitte promote career growth?
Yeah, sure. So, how does Deloitte promote career growth in its employees? Okay, so basically, from my experience, parang once you're in the company, so of course, merong ma-assign sa'yo na coach. And then, your coach would actually brief you kung ano yung available na career paths within the company. So syempre, explain niya na currently, nandito ka, and for the what you need to do to reach the next stage. So, ano naman yan, it's actually, it would depend on the coach, but syempre, of course, depending on your role, it would require a certain number of years, unless exceptional yung tao, which can um make his or her promotion faster than normal. So that's one case. And what else? Yeah, so I would say yun kasi for example ako, I have coaches on my own, and then but at the same time, I do have a coach as well. So parang siya yung may mentor sa akin on for me to reach the next level, ano yung kulang ko na ginagawa, or parang do I allocate, time to perform, for example, admin activities outside of project work, ganun.
Sige. Thanks, Mike. Siguro I can add din for the career growth within Deloitte. So, yung sinabi ni Mike, yes, we're doing it. So, siguro I'll give more context. So, let's say if we're siguro we're trying to build everyone's career sa Deloitte. So, either analyst ka, consultant ka, so we're building all your career. Like Mike said, there's a coach that will guide you and mentor you. So, yung coach na yon, he's or she is the one who will talk to you regularly and then discuss what are your career plans or career goals. Kasi of course, we really need to know then kung ano yung goals mo in this company. So, and then the coach will provide you all the career plans or career growth within Deloitte. So let's say doing for if you're gonna stay Deloitte, these are the career paths. So while doing that, during that career path, we will identify then kung ano yung strengths, what are the things that we need to improve on you in order for you to grow your career. So we're not just leaving you behind. We're partnering you. We're helping you to build your skills and experience. So that's the good thing about it is um, hindi namin kayo babayaan. So if you like, let's say nagkaroon kayo ng mga mistakes or needs improvement, yan. So we will coach you. We will make sure that you'll improve on that. We have a step-by-step process and eventually you will realize medyo laki na ng improvement mo. So our goal here is not to just provide you like stay in your career, but also provide you a future within Deloitte then. So as a offering lead then at Salesforce, kasi I'm handling all the Salesforce team, we're building a structure then on how we're going to provide career path, a clear career path for every one of Salesforce team. So we have a career path for manager side. Kung gusto mo maging manager, you also have career path for the architect side. So a lot of stuff that you have. And then for analyst side, ano yung mga certifications that you need to take? What are in order for you to be on the next level? So all of those things will guide you to the process. And the good thing about how we practice in Deloitte, kasi we have a coachee mentorship. And then during that process kasi you could ask everything about your coach. And yun. And then as a offering lead then, your open door policy. So you could also reach out to me if you have anything to discuss or anything that your issues and everything like that. And I think it's been going through we're maganda yung ginagawa natin here in Deloitte. So I hopefully that answers your question, Kevin.
We do have a Salesforce bootcamp coming up. So that is open for all students as well, but it's smaller. So right, like we have, this is open to everyone, but the bootcamp will be a 30-person kind of smaller group setting where you're going to work with a facilitator who will teach you, go through demos on Trailhead, and then you get to learn it that way and then prepare for the exam like that. So applications for that will open closer to end of the year. So now that we have the emailing system, we're going to reach out to you. So keep an eye out for our announcement then. So thanks, Sean, for pulling this up. So one final note, I know we've been kind of talking about Salesforce Trailhead since we started. Another kind of gentle reminder that if you haven't started yet, it's a great way to learn Salesforce, and it's also a great way for us to get you started on Salesforce before the bootcamp. So if you have free time, I learned it via Trailhead as well. So super easy to kind of pick up. We will be sending out a newsletter later this week containing more information about what we covered this week and just wrapping up the whole Salesforce career journey, along with potentially what the dates are for the Salesforce Bootcamp. And then also we're going to communicate across ways to apply for open positions at the Philippines Delivery Center. So you get more information this week. That's all from me. Sean, Marlon, Mike, any last thoughts before we close out?
Hey, Joey. Sorry,
Oh,
Sandra
hey,
here.
Sandra.
Can you guys hear me? Sorry about
Yes,
that.
yes, we can.
So I'm just turning off my video just to make sure I still get that's to ensure my connection. So I just wanted to tell everyone to please follow Deloitte Facebook group and also Deloitte IG. So we will be announcing the openings and also the upcoming bootcamp on those two social media accounts. So please follow the Deloitte SOCMEDs in Facebook and also in Instagram.